Hello, my name is Asta and welcome to a setup guide for a complete video accessory calculator. Before we start, you already know the drill. We start with a short PowerPoint presentation. All calculations done with this Excel calculator are the averages. So if you do a practical application in game, you may experience quite a big spread. If you want to do a risk estimation, you can calculate the expected spread. But it's something I'm personally not interested in, so you have to do that one on your own. I would recommend a certain understanding of my file stack designer, or at least the Deboreka sheet, just so you can follow along easier and have a decent understanding of the formulas behind it, so you can modify it for your own applications and find errors if there are any. So, content of this video, we will modify the Deboreka sheet to get the general accessory calculator. Two things that are interesting there. We want to be able to choose whether or not we use cronstones for every single click or not. And we want to be able to choose the start point and the end point. So basically, we want to choose, do we start from base and enhance up to tat, or do we start from pry and enhance up to tat, or do we start from pry and enhance up to pen, or whatever. We want to have all combinations possible. So that's something we want to do. And lastly, if possible, we want to, it is possible, but we want to unlink the calculation from the item we're clicking on. Meaning, we want to do the calculation, giving us results, and then apply the item in the end to the calculation, allowing us to apply multiple items at once to a single calculation and just making the whole process way faster. And then in the end, we will do a very quick application setup for TED accessories, just so you know, yeah, what the use can be for this calculator. Recap: you can pause and read that. Nothing changed. And the only really important new information we have here is I wrote down the amount of cronstones required per click, per item, per enhancement level. And we will look at those numbers in a second in Excel, but just so you have the numbers written here, you can check them in-game or with Gamoth, they're accurate. And lastly, as you already know, I use the German Excel version. So on the left you have the German commands, on the right you have the English translation. So if you want to do the Excel sheet on your own, you can follow along easy. And yeah, one more thing, in German the notation is 23,3. In English it's 23.3. So you will see that, and just so you know, that's the difference. So let's go on to Excel. Okay, with Excel, I want to make this video slightly slower than the last, to maybe allow some people that have not had that much experience with thinking these problems through and creating these sheets on your own, to modify for your own application or a different game or something in real life you want to calculate, to give you, or try to give you, some insight into how to approach these problems and create what you want on your own. So I will try to recreate basically my thought process of when I created this accessory calculator. So before we start, again, we just want to copy the Deboreka sheet because that's what we take a start point, and let's call it accessory or accessory calculator. No, accessory is good enough. And as just now, oh, not Debo, it's cron. We want to look at the cron costs at first. I have them copied on my second monitor, just so we're faster here. These are the numbers you just saw in Excel. And these, of course, are for the base click, and the last one is tat to pen, right? Nothing fancy there. Now, these numbers are of course all different, but what we want to check out is, are the ratios in which they increase from the base to the next, to the next, to the next similar or the same? So we take the first one and we divide it by the first one, because we start out with norming everything to the base click, right? That seems reasonable. So we press F4 again to lock only the row, so here the 4, and not the column, because that way we can later move the formula to the right side to apply to the different items, and still let the formula be in the correct place. So we just need this, and let's again fewer numbers, we don't need too many. And because we only lock the 4, we can do that, and everything is normed to the correct item amount. So as you can already see, all of these in the same level, of course, are similar, not entirely the same, which means if we use the ratios, we can decouple the calculation from the item, but we will introduce a certain error. Because, for example, we can take the average, which is Mittelwert in German. I don't know the English command for average. Maybe average, not sure. You can try that one out. And as you can see, these numbers differ. They are not entirely the same, and that's important. We will introduce an error that way for the sake of automation and simplicity. If you want the exact numbers, you have to use the accurate cronstone costs. If the error is fine for you, you can use the ratios. We will look at how big the difference is later, but just keep that in mind already. Now, what we can do as an idea to reduce the error, we can norm, for example, to the tet to pen click instead of the first one, and we get ratios normed to the cron amount from the last one, right? Just something to keep in mind, to play around with. But generally, all of the ratios are the same, in which the cron cost increases per item level. I've tested it for a few more items, for basically all the relevant ones. If you have a new one, just try it out, see if the ratios are accurate. If not, you have to use the cron costs, yeah. But if they're accurate, you can just apply the item in the end. Yeah, I will show you how later. So let's go to the interesting part, right? We want to modify this calculator. We have done a lot of work, so it's not that much more we need. Let's give us more room here. Let's start by planning what we want. This one here is just calculation. There's nothing interesting for us, if we're honest. So let's just move that one down, right? This one here is, yeah, we calculate the amount of stacks we need here, which is fine. And this one is just a summation of how many items do we create and all that. It's not really interesting for now. We will look at that later. The cron cost we can keep for now. We can modify that in a second. And the stacks is one input, but it's too little. So let's just start over and plan out our inputs into the calculator. What do we want to have, right? I want the I capital. The most important thing, as mentioned, we want to be able to choose where do we start and where do we end. So start point base to tet, and end point, which is the item we get out of it, is pry to pen. So we have to feed that information into the calculator somehow. So let's start point and end point, right? So let's just take base and pen, for example. Then we want to have the after tax, which is if we sell an item on the marketplace, how much do we get out of it? The basic, if you don't have a value pack and whatever, is 65%. I think the game tells you that, but you can test it, sell an item, see how much you get. 65%. Now that can be modified. If, for example, you have the value pack, you get an additional 30% of the 65%. That's not an absolute value, right? So it's not 65% plus 30%, so not 95%. It is 30% of the 65. So we can add the 0.3, 30% like that, and we have 130% of the 65%, and that's 84.5%. I'm sure you've heard this number before, and we can further add the family fame 0.015 for the 1.5%. If you have 1%, it's 0.01, or 0.5%, it's 0.005, like this, which is roughly 85.5%, which is, I'm sure, a number you hear quite frequently these days. Then, if you, for example, have the merchant ring, you can add an additional 0.05 for the 5% from the merchant ring, coming out to roughly 88.7%, right? I don't have that one, so let's delete that for now, but it's your calculator, so if you have it, add it, change the numbers accordingly, right? And we want to, for you, color in the information you can modify in the calculator. So that's basically the input, right? Then we just deleted the stack information. So we have to implement the stack information again, right? It's base, pry, do, try, tat. And that's just what stacks do we click in. So let's get basically the soft caps again. And let's say 250 for now, right? We have to get the stack information. This is the base click, so we take the base stack, right? We can copy that for now. So we have the I15 here for me. And this is one lower, so it's I16, right? We can cross-check that. This field here is I16. Here, you see that one here. So let's do it like this for all of them. So this one here is I17. This one is I18. And I19 for me. If you have your layout slightly different, one more row empty for design purposes, whatever, you have, of course, changed the numbers accordingly. But for now, the stacks are accurate again. And this is, of course, something we can modify. So let's color it blue again. Then the next information we want for every single click. Do we cron, yes or no? So for simplicity's sake, do we want to cron? It's let's say a yes. If we don't want to cron, we just leave it empty. So like this, right? This would be we cron on base, on duo, and on tat. But we need that information in the calculation and change the formulas accordingly. So do we cron this click? Whether we get the information, of course, here. So do we click the base click? Yes. Very good. Now we can just copy that for now, like this. And do we click cron the pry click? No. So it's 0. So it's this one, right? And same as before, we can manually type that in to get to the correct cell, like this. So what we typed in is cron, no cron, cron, no cron, cron, which is accurate, right? And we can test it if we want, if we switch the basically selection. So we swap all of them. Now it's no cron, cron, no cron, cron, no cron. So it's correct, right? The links, but it does nothing for us for now. What's the effect of not cronning, right? So let's say I don't cron, like this. Now I have a 0 here, but we want to have an effect. What happens if we don't cron? It changes the it changes the outcome. The way we have set it up is if we upgrade, we produce the higher grade. If it stays, we produce the same grade. If it downgrades, we produce the prior grade. These two have to be at 0 if we don't cron, right? Because you don't produce anything if it fails. It just destroyed. So we want to add an if statement here. If this number here equals yes, whoops, like this. If it's yes, we do cron. Then we want to do what we did just now, because we're starting from the cron perspective, right? We just calculated cronning Deborika last video. So if we cron, calculation stays the same. If we don't cron, it's just 0. We don't produce anything. So like this. It works for all the grades, of course, but the downgrade, you don't have that as well. So we can just copy this one here and add that here. So if we cron again, we do that. And if not, you don't produce anything, even if you downgrade, like this. So no matter what level you put in here now, the numbers will be accurate. But you do have a cron cost. And we don't have that, right? Because if we don't cron, we don't use cron cons. So if we use crons, do the same. And if we don't cron, it's just 0, right? I think there's nothing too fancy there. Like this, for example, right? You have no cron cost. So if we cron, however, we of course get the numbers we had before. So we can hide that stuff again, because we don't have to change anything here. The chances are changed accordingly, right? And this produced just takes whatever chances we have, so we don't have to modify them, which is nice. And what we can do now, this is the same for all of these calculations, right? If we do cron, we have a certain percentage to stay and we have a certain percentage to downgrade. If we do not cron, we only have upgrade. Otherwise, it's just we use it, but we don't reproduce the same stuff. Now, these numbers are all messed up. Why? Because you have to make sure that this one is still on base. Right? Now, all of the numbers are accurate. And we can get that up a little bit so we can, for now, check the solutions. Now, we can select this as blue as well, because that's an input, right? We can select for everything, do we cron or do we not cron? But everything will be calculated up to pen, which is something we want to modify. We want to choose where do we start and where do we end, right? So we have to check whatever we have here, right? If we go up to pen, all of this is correct. This here. Let's have this at TED, all right? Nothing changes, but what has to change? This one here has to be 0, right? Because this is how many pens do we want to have, basically. And we want to have 0, because we're only going up to TED. So that's an if statement there. If this one here is pen, I want to have 1 pen. If it's not pen, I want to have 0, because everything that's not pen is lower. So, like that, if we have pen, we produce exactly 1 pen. And if we don't produce 1 pen, we don't produce 1 pen. Now we want to produce 1 TED. Well, what's the difference here? Here. we do have some weird formula there, right? We need here stuff here, but yeah, it's basically it's 1. If we go up to tat, it's the same thing with pen we just did. We want to have 1 tat, right? So if this one here is pen, I want you to do the same thing you just did, right? If it's pen, do that. Change nothing. Now, if it's not pen, we have to check again. Is this one tat? Right? Then it's 1. If we go up to tat, we want to have 1 tat, right? If it's not tat and if it's not pen, because we have checked both those states, then we want to have 0. We want to have nothing there, right? Like this. Meaning we already have, and here you see the outcomes, right? So if we go up to pen, you produce 1 pen more than you use up, and here you use up 552 bases. If you go up to tat, you create 1 tat and you need about 71 bases, right? Which is already quite a good result to know. You can, of course, easily calculate that by hand, because yeah, that's basically what most people do that enhance for profit. And one great thing you have here is, you need 1 tat stack being 110. We need 3.33 tri stacks being the 44s, and you need 8.23 40 stacks. We need a lot of 32 stacks, but that doesn't matter because you can just apply it. So with just this information here, you already know how many stacks do you have to produce per TED accessory if you use these stacks here. So you can take these numbers and go to your fail stack designer and basically already design a stack for TED accessories, right? So that's good to know, and you know how many bases do you have to pre-order. Now, let's go further down. If we're at try, then we produce nothing for TED, and we produce basically nothing right now. So, wait, what did I change just now? This one, okay. So this one here is, if it's pet, it's correct. Pen is correct. This one is correct. So we now have to modify this one, right? If this, we can add or, right? Should we do it like this? Yeah, let's do like this. Let's add an or statement. It should just be or, like or in English. So if this one here is pen, or if this one here is tat, then I want you to do what you did all this time, all right? And then similar to what we did for the last clicks, if that's not the case, we want to open a new if statement, and we check if this here equals to try, because we go up to try, then it's 1, and if not, it's 0. So just the same thing we did this entire time now, right? Oops, I forgot 1 comma, I believe. One closing bracket, yeah. And now, as you can see, we go up to exactly 1 try. We produce 1 try, and we use up a certain amount of bases. And we couldn't do that for the next one. If we go to do, we have to, we're here. Wait, where are we? This is up to try. Here, we are here. So, if, or, let's just keep to the same way of setting it up we just did. You can probably have a way more elegant solution here, but I mean, it works, right? We don't have to get fancy there, and we just do more of the same. If this is pen, or if this equals tat, or if this equals try, then change nothing. If that's not true, we want to change check again with an if statement. If this one here is duo, we want to have it at 1, and if it's not duo, it's at pry, because we have checked every other state. It's a 0, like this. So if you go from base up to duo, we will create one duo and use up a certain number of bases, right? So now we go to pry, and we have to change the last thingy here. Now, what are the options? Basically, I'm not sure if let's do it like this. Hopefully I don't introduce an error here, but let's do it like this, okay? If this cell here equals to pry, I want 1 pry. If it's not pry, I want to have the formula I just used all this time, because there's nothing else. If I don't go to pry, I go higher. I cannot enhance to base. It does not work. So we do it like this, right? And now if I go to base to base, nothing happens, right? That's it's stupid. So if we go to pry, we get 1 pry. If we go to duo, we get 1 duo. If we go to try, we get 1 try, tat, and pen. This is what item do we want to produce. It works for now, right? That's perfect. Now we want to change the starting point, right? Yes. Let me think about it for a second. Where it's better to start? I feel like it's better to start here, right? Yes. So all these formulas correctly define the endpoint. Now we want to define the start point. So we add even more if clauses. If this one here equals to base, right? Which is what we currently have. Then do everything we just did. If we do not start from base, I don't want base. So you do nothing here. Like this. Meaning, let's go to tat. If it's not base, for example, it's pry, I do not want to create them here. But this, of course, means I have to it costs me price and it costs me bases, right? I'm not sure if that's really that easy to follow this point here, but I will not create price on my own anymore, so I have to buy price, and it's about, with these stacks, 16.5 price per tat. But this now means this is probably enough of a calculation for whatever you can practically apply it to. Now you can test what's the difference in cost between starting from pry or starting from base. But for completionist's sake, we will go further. If it's pry, that works for me, right? You produce 0 base, which makes sense, right? And now you produce 0 price, which is, I mean, of course, right? If you don't tap on the base ones, you cannot produce price. So let's go further. And this is true for duo and all that, right? So let's go to the next one. If And now we already need an OR statement. If OR this one here equals base, which is just the first one, right? Or this one equals pry, then you can do everything we just did, right? It's what we just did and do more of the same, change nothing. If we go higher than that, I want you to do 0, right? Because you don't create them anymore. So what this means, if we go to Duo now, we will not create price, so we will not click on price, so we don't need them. We don't produce them and we don't need them. So that's a 0 there. We only need duos, and we feed them, we buy them. We need bases, of course, because we have to click. Every single click costs us price. And yeah, you can see how many duos that takes you. Now we go further than that. And it's here, starting from here, it's just more of the same. If or this one here is base, or this one is pry, or this one is duo. Then do what you just did all this time. If it's not that, do nothing. It's basically more of the same, right? So if we have try here, we use up try. And we do more of the same the next one. What we can do here to make it faster for us, we copy all of that, go into here, and add this one in front. But instead of stopping at duo, we want to do the same thing if this one equals try, right? So just like this, the formula should be accurate. Yes, yes, yes. So if we go up to TET, nothing happens. Wow, why? Because the endpoint is set to TET currently. It can't do anything, right? So if we go up to pen, now it works again. And you could probably do more stuff here now, but TET is the highest you can go. So you cannot enhance from pen. It does nothing there. You could make it for simplicity's sake that this one gets 0 and you do not. Let's. It's just stupid. What the fuck is that one? What do you want here? Ooh, this one is. What does this one do? Man. I'm not entirely sure what that one is here. Let me check that on my second monitor. If it's. Let me check. If it's base, pry, duo, or try. If it is pen, do what you just did. If it's TET, 200. Oh, we have this one is missing the. If that's not true, what do you do, right? Like this. Yeah, now it works. So if we go up to pen, nothing happens. We can add it if you want to. So we're at start point, right? Doesn't make sense to have that added here. I find it very, very stupid to add. No, I don't really want to add that one. Let me check. No, we will not add that one. It's stupid, right? You don't need to enhance from pen to pen. That's just not possible. I feel like I don't need to implement these safe keeps in a calculation that if you're using the calculator, you should know you cannot enhance from pen. Sorry, I'm getting all right up. So now what we can do. Whoops. Ha. What the fuck? That's weird. Okay. If we cron, we can already know how, with these stacks, how many bases do we know need to enhance to pen. how many bases do we need to enhance to that. That's, for example, important if you want to have Deboreka and all that. And what happens if you change the stacks basically at the same point. But what we can do now, and that's very cool, you can go to certain stacks and take away the cron cost there. So yeah, that's basically the complete calculator here. Now what we want to have, we want to just get the results and implement the prices and apply the items to the calculation we just did. We have all the relevant information already. Now, first, what I want to start with, I want to actually use these numbers here. So we get these numbers and just make them slightly less visible, right? Like that. And as you can already see, the cron costs are now basically to get the real cron cost, you have to multiply those numbers by whatever you norm your cron stones to. Currently, we norm to the tat stack. So this one here, let's put that one here. So currently, the cron cost would be this times this. Let's save the number and put in the Debo numbers again, which these are more accurate. So that's the difference currently in the calculation. This is exact, and this is by just using the ratios and applying the cronstone amount in the end. The difference here is not too big. We only go up to TET, of course, but here it does not matter at all, right? So it's what is that? 6-7 million difference. Who cares, right? So you can try out more of that for your own if you feel like it's reasonable to use this method here. I'm a big fan, so we will continue by having everything normed to the last click. Now, and that's probably the part. I mean, it's a calculator for now, so if that's all you're interested in, you can stop. But we want to apply some stuff now, right? Wait. Oh yeah, okay, that's fine. We will do a messy setup for now, okay? If you want to have a nice setup, I'm sure I gave you enough information to change it on your own. What do we want to have? We have stack amount, right? Ah, no, I want to keep input and output separate. So we have price and stack cost as something we have to implement, right? One thing, real quick, let's just for fun look at Deboreka again, right? And I think I said that last video already. If you just buy Deboreka, for example, on base, your base cost is what you paid for it. If you, however, grind them on your own, your cost is how much you could sell them on the market for times your after tax, right? Because that's how much money you would get if you would just sell it. The advantage of calculating the price here is in probably you're tracking your grind hours or whatever on Garmoth, then you do not have to subtract the Deborekas from that calculation. And you can just apply add the profit you're calculating here on top of that, right? Because the price is already subtracted here. So that's the price. We have the stack cost. It's about 10 million for this one, and let's say oh, here 1.2 billion for the rest of them, which is these 1.2 billions are what it costs me to create these stacks here, right? But we will come to that in a second. That's just something you can have here. These are, of course, all input devices. On Pry, I don't know, is that relevant? Not really, right? On TUT, you can sell for 95 billion. And let's add pen here because we have a pen price, right? Which is 300 billion. That's probably it for now. No? No, but it's fine like that. So let's move this one down. This is basically the result window, but we would want to have it, yeah, more nicely set up. We leave one here for now. So let's have the cron cost here, and yeah, we can for the tat click like this. So we want to have the amount of crons written there somewhere. We just want this one here. So I'm not sure. Is that a price? No, not really. Stack cost? Not really. Man, I'm not sure where to put that one. Let's put it here, maybe. Right? As I said, you can modify that. And price is every single crownstone costs 3 million if you vendor them. So let's put it like this, and we have everything here we need. So no. Let me think about what we want to do next. Now we want to calculate the profit or the cost, which is both things are interesting. So we have the output, correct? And can we do it like this? Yeah, let's keep it simple. We will keep all of these. Go down once. The first one is items. What's the outcome of items? And this, just to have an output section here, we can just copy from down here, right? Like this. If we have a negative output, it means we use up the items. If we have a positive outcome, it means we get the items. Then we have, what I want to know for me is stacks, the amount of stacks, which is rather simple because it's just this one here. Wait, where do we have the stacks? Ooh, this is weird for you guys probably. Let me think about this. Oh, I want to have it like that. So I will add the stacks same way before. We click on pry. We click on base and get pry. We click on pry and get duo. We click on duo and get try. We click on try and we get tat. Okay, so man, now this is kind of, no, we have to keep it like that. We need the try stack, which is the stack from try to tat, but we produce the item on tat level. This might be confusing for you. If it's better for you like this, you can change it accordingly. Okay, but for me that works. That's the thought process I use when I create the information. Now, that's the item outcome, and that is the stack outcome. How many stacks do we need, right? That's interesting for your fail stack system. Fail stack system setup. Now we can already calculate the cost, right? Let me check. How did I do that? Like this. This is No, I don't want to do that, honestly. The way I want to set it up right now is I want to do it the same way so you can apply the items later to this one here. Without having to change your approach afterwards. So, or do we just do it like that for a second? No, let's do it. Let's do it easier already. So, and what we have is cron. How many crons do we need? And this is this row here, right? If we cron something, we need crons. So, and this is the process where I'm going slow. I mean, I have the Excel sheet correctly set up on the second monitor, but it doesn't look nearly as nice as this one here. So, yeah. Right. Is this something as output that's enough? Probably. Let's do that different, and let's go to profit here. Yeah, let's do like this. Do multiple sections. We want to have, I'm not sure how you call that, but we want to have outcome. We want to have cost, and we want to have the profit in the end, right? This is just the title for the section basically. And one information, we want to have the minimum sell price, so we're even on cost. What is the outcome? The outcome is if a number is positive here on the outcome section, we will sell it, right? So do I have to check every single? Man, that would be. Yeah, I feel like I have to do that, so you can later apply the because the way I did it here, it worked slightly different. Okay, let's do it like that. Who cares, right? So if this number here is bigger than 0, then I want you to multiply this number times the sell price times the after tax. If it's not 0 in the outcome, right? That should work. So let's go here and copy all of this and just do more of this stuff here. So that should work, right? I-29. Wait, what? Did it work? I believe so. And we can go further up. Like this. And we will check it in a second whether or not all of them are correct. And the last one we will sell is pro. I know we will sell all of them, right? So we do the same for this one and for this one. And we do the same for these. Because it can be, it might happen that you create more price than you use up. I'm not sure. Probably not, but let's keep it for completionist sake. Like this, right? We have 0 everywhere. Why do I have 0? Because I changed too much. Yeah, okay, let's go back a second and do them step by step. So this one here is 29. This one here is 29. And it should work like this, right? is bigger than I29 times. Wait, what's that here? That's 18. What's this? 12. I12. Okay. What's I29? I Man, it's I'm really plus. And this is the problem with doing stuff step by step. It kind of takes a while sometimes. Okay, let's do it step by step. I30 is, I don't see shit. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, O, C, D, F, G, H, I, G, H, I. This one here. This one here is definitely 29. If 29 is bigger, that works. This is correct. Then I30, I29, that works, times K19, like this. And that has a positive outcome, and that's the sell price. Nice, now that works. Now we can do that, like this, and this one is 28, 28, 18, plus 27, 27, 17, 26, 26, K 16, and let's do pry just to have it there as well. So 25, 25, 15. Nice. Now we do have the outcome. Everything we sell that is positive, we get an outcome. So if we only go up to try, whoops, like this, we have no price because there's no number here. I don't know what the number is, 20 million, like that. So we have the outcome. What do we sell? For pen, that's the 220 something, 256 million. Who cares, right? Like that. What is the cost? The cost is basically the same thing, correct? Yes, it is. Let's start with the item costs. Like this one, let's take a section here. If this one is smaller than 0, I don't need the tax. Wait. I had that for all of them, right? The I12. You could have locked that one, of course, but I did not think of that. So if it's smaller than 0, so a negative number, then I don't have the tax. It's just basically I buy the item, so it costs me money. Like this. Yeah, we can do all of them. I will show you one problem we have if we do it this way, but let's do it for now. So same thing just now. 29, 29, 19. So 28, 28, 18, 27, 27, 17, 26, 26, 16, and 15. Like this. Yes. The problem is it's a negative number, which we do not want to have here. So what we will do is we will just minus all of this, right? So we now have a positive number. Because on this cost, we want to add the rest. All of this here is just the item prices, right? If there's a negative number here, we produce a negative amount, so we use it up, we have to buy it, and or we have to farm it on our own. That's why on these prices here, we already include the tax for these items we grind ourselves. Yes, like this, right? And now we have different costs as well. We can do that in a different section for now and add them later on. We have stack costs. Stack costs are basically just this here times how many stacks do we need, plus this times this, plus this times this, plus this times this. All right, that's the complete stack cost. So we will just add that in the end here, like this. So we have the complete stack cost. And then we also have cron costs, meaning where's the outcome for crons here. So if we cron like this, the cron cost would be this number times the norm times the price for the crons, like this, right? So we want to add that one to our total costs as well, like this. Wait, what happened here? Why is that so low? Oh no, it works. And before 25, what happened here? Wait, what did I do? Ah, like that. Okay, we just added it's a cost for the basis. That's why it's so expensive and it's low by adding the crons. And now we have the cron cost and we have a number. Okay, that works. That's better. So if we delete all the costs here, we now have the difference between what happens if we cron it and if we don't cron it, right? Like this. So yeah, you can check for yourself, is it better if you cron or if you don't cron? But you of course also see the difference in how many items do you need, because that's probably your bottleneck. It's better if you cron it, right? But you can with this now change every single have every single calculation you want to have. So we want to have the profit, of course. It's just the outcome. What do we get minus the cost, the total cost. So if that's a positive number, that's the amount of profit you get. All right, so let's look at the Eureka example again. That's about 28 billion in profit if you use the soft cap stacks and cron Eureka. I don't know how many you get. What do I know? 1 an hour, 2 an hour. If it's 1 an hour, that's about with 15 additional 2 billion an hour in profit. If you use higher stacks, I don't know, 66 whoops, let's do it 60 and 150 maybe, then it's slightly faster and you have a different profit. So yeah, you can play around with that on your own. And the min cell, what's the min cell? It's basically just you have the cost and you have to divide it by your after tax. So that's the sell price you have minimum, so you get your cost back, right? This might be interesting for certain items which have a rather high fluctuation, like for example ogre rings and whatever. So the cool thing about the way these formulas are, as ugly as they are to look at, right? Because everything is in a single line. By changing these prices or changing just where you address these cells here, right? These, you don't even have to change these because the stacks are the same for the whole system, because the stack amount, which is this one here, it does not change depending on the item, right? So everything that changes specifically because of the item is the amount of cron stones you need. So the way you address it and cost here, this cell, you just have to change that one, and the way you address the prices, these one differ as well. So now you can have a section where you have multiple items, for example, Deboreka, Disto, Ogre Ring, Leighton, Tangred necklace, Tangred belt, whatever, and you can change these formulas accordingly to go to the specific thing. So you have, for example, the way you can set it up, right, is you have Ogre, oops, let's put it like this, then you have base, pry, do, try, tat. What did I do? Try, tat, pen, like this. Cron amount, profit, for example. Or you have, then again, outcome, cost, profit, min cell for all of these. And then you have Debo, Disto, Nag, Light, Leighton, whatever, set up like this. You have the profit underneath, and you can modify all, you can calculate all these items at once, because we only implement the item here. This is the first point in a calculation where we actually use the information on the item itself. So that's very, very cool. But of course, as I showed you before, we do have a slight error there, right? So this one, yeah, it's fine. We don't need that information. The important things here, we drag it up anyway. So let's get to one last thing I want to show you. Let's take an example of, by the way, one very cool thing for these prices. It doesn't really matter, but what's Ogre, for example? Not sure. 85. What's this price? 160 sometimes. Not right now, I believe, but who cares? Try price doesn't matter. TED price 9.2 billion, which is something like that should work, right? Now, what you can do, you have, if you start from base, you buy the item, and you enhance up to TED, and these are your costs and all that. You get an average profit of 480 million per TED ogering. With my current setup, I get between 5 or 6 TEDs an hour, so that would be a profit of, yeah, not even 3 billion an hour. But if I go to Pry, that's a profit of 1.6 billion per ogre. Times 6, that's about 9 billion an hour. Yeah, so that's not the current values anymore. It was some weeks ago, but yeah. But that's very cool with this calculation, or this calculator. You have very fast get the information. Do I start from Pry? Do I start from base? And it changes depending on what item you have, for example. For example, Tungrat belts usually are better if you start from base. But then you might have whatever distos, where it's better if you start from duo and you cron the first tap and you raw tap the last tap, and all of that can be calculated with the this calculator now. Of course, most solutions will probably the most be the most simple, where you cron everything or you cron nothing, but you can try it out, right? Let's check these numbers out for a second. You have the 8.23, 3.33, and 1. So I want to show you how you can set it up just very, very quick, so you can play around with it easier. That is TED. Let's call it TED system, right? Hopefully you have created that in the past. If not, you can rewatch the video, of course. It was the Masterclass 2 video. So let's switch the interesting stuff, right? We have 3 stacks. We have the TED stack, tri stack, duo stack. We need 1, 3.33 and 8.23, right? We got these numbers from the amount of failed stakes we need here. So like this. We have all of this, and then one thing, I believe, if you just want to copy it, like this, Shadow Saber has included that in his calculator already. I've created that a few weeks in the past. And it makes creating these systems more easy. Let's do that before we start. And the thing is, what the fuck is that? You can force. Hello? I'm not sure what it wants from me here. Oops, like this. Nice. And you can force your deficits. Meaning, let's get, what's that? Oh yeah, that's like that. Okay, let's get the cost away for now. You have a forcing section where you just force your stuff. You have duo and you have try, right? Duo, try, man, getting flustered here. Force. So, what's the cost of forcing a duo? I believe it's 12 concentrated stones you need, so it's just 12 times the concentrated cost. You could add 10 times the repair cost, because if you force to duo, you lose one entire section of durability, but who cares? But we will include it for now, why not, right? And if you do force try, it's the same thing, except use 30 concentrated, right? Like this. So we have the cost here per force, and what we can implement is if this one here is negative, it's smaller than 0, then I want minus this value, just because I want the cost in a positive value, minus this times, and then it's missing. Hello? Why can I select that one? Like this. And it's not at 0, right? Meaning we now get the cost of forcing this item here. And we have the, can you do it like this? That should work, right? Yes, it works. If my try is negative, I can force a certain amount to try. So that's makes it very easy to balance your systems. We will do that in a second. So the cost, you do have duo, stack, try, stack, tet stack, and this one here, let's set it up real quick. Try, and hello. So we want to copy that to here, right? And this one here will be our duo stack. So, is this set up correctly? Yeah, basically. But let's redo that one. We lock the first one times this, plus the second one locked times this, plus, oops, third one locked to this. And because everything is locked, we can drag it like that, right? So everything has the correct link to it, like that. Then we want the price, of course. We want to have that one. We have this times the amount. This one, we have 3.33 of the tri stacks, and we have 8.23 of the dual stacks. I hope you don't mind that I go kind of fast here, but I mean, that's something we did way in the past, so yeah. Shouldn't be too much new stuff. So let's, because I like it, do it like this, and because I find that to be very cool, we will do it like this to section of the first section. So what we can do now, These here don't matter for now, right? Let's first of all look at just this stack. You can start wherever you want, but most likely your start point for your tat stack will be at 30. It's just easier to balance in the end. So the end where we want to stop is probably here because we can introduce valks. We will look at that in a second. We have to add that cost, right? So pry, a lot of duos, that's absolutely trash. If you look at the numbers, you have 21 duos you have to catch up. You have too many tats. Too many tats means we need more tats. Now you're basically at 0 with the tats, right? We are at 98, so that looks fine for now. You have 2 little tries, which, yeah, might be okay, and you have too much duos. So let's go here to pry. You have 3 duos, which is, it could work, right? Maybe this one is better. Let's check. Oops. Let's check that one out. So it's 13 too little. Yeah, could be bad for now, right? By the way, we need a sum here. This is wrong. Like this. We want the sum here. We take the sum of all of these. That's it. Wait, did I do that one correctly? No, this one is the, wait. This one is the tat stack, try stack, do stack. Like this. This should be correct now, right? Do times do. Yeah, sorry, now it's correct. And let's get the borders again, because that's just nice, right? And this one, fat, because that's the complete cost of the whole system, right? So we have it like that. That should be balanceable, right? So let's go to the second one. Let's try stack. We need 44. So let's go to 44. Put in the and put all of the numbers back. So we have the total. We have too many duos. We have 2 little tries. We have too many tats. So the last one is probably something like this. We check the numbers. Way too many duos. So we need to reduce the amount of pry. So pry duo, that seems fine if we start at 25. And we have too many tries, so maybe like this. No. Yeah, I mean, it will be a really annoying fail stack, but it's good enough for now. I don't care. Because you will produce 5 too many tries. So that's a lot, honestly. That's a lot. Maybe like, hello? Like this? That looks more reasonable. It's still really annoying because you create 4 too many duos. Quick explanation: if you create 10 um, 10 complete fail stack systems, you will have produced on average 40 too many duos. That's way too high. That's really annoying because you have to somehow use them up. But it's good enough for now. Let's check out the prices, right? To be accurate, you have the duo stack. You have a certain amount of duo. Where's the cost here? AU for this one here. So, but every stack, because you will most likely save it with an advice of the Valks book, so it's 1 million extra. Let's do the same one for the try one. Every book is 2 million, so just 2 million. You can add that like this. And here we will have we will have an additional 20 million to save the 98 stack, because you need the 100 book. Plus you have 12 times the cost of a Valk's Cry. I'm actually not sure what is currently. I always calculate with 5. So 12 times 5. So it's not really enjoyable enhancing with that. So I would change that before you apply that. But the complete system, all tat stacks, all tri stacks, all dual stacks, have a combined cost of 1.05 billion. With these costs, of course, if you go higher here, the whole system gets more expensive, right? That's yeah, of course. So let's take this number and go back here. Now we can change the cost we have here, right? And you can already see that just directly transfers to we got more money out of enhancing, right? I'm not sure if you remember from before. Now, if we start from base, it's 600 million. So it's 150 more, which is money per hour, a lot more. So that's just now with the complete calculation and the system here set up correctly and the forcing implemented and all that. That's everything you can need for calculating enhancing for profit. That's it. I believe there's nothing left to cover when it comes to creating these calculations and these designers. Um, have fun trying it out in game and playing around with the numbers here. That's the fun part. One quick warning: if you go for pen, uh, your profit might be higher. By the way, this number is not right. It's maybe something like this. Your profit might look to be higher, but it's way, way, way more risky because you're at percentages of 10 to 12%, depending on what your stack you're using, compared to the 30% you have for TAT. I was, I don't do that much enhancing for profit, right? Because it's quite boring after a while. But I have close to 1,000 TAT attempts. And there was a time where I was 150 billion less than the expected value, just enhancing to that. If you enhance to pen, you can be way more in the minus. Minus meaning expected value, not necessarily minus in absolute. I still am plus, but you're missing money that you should have, right? So watch out for that. But have fun. That's it. See you around. If you have questions, feel free to ask them and have a nice enhancing session.